Hi friends, nice to be back on this special episode of Faith and Reason. And if you see the Christmas tree, you very well know it's a season to be happy and jolly. And yes, this is a Christmas special episode. And today we have our guest, you know who is he, no introduction required, a fatherly figure, Dr. George Samuel. Welcome, Doctor. Nice meeting you, Doctor. How are you doing?
So good, wonderful. Yes. What a delight to see this wonderful Christmas
it's really some
tree.
hard work done and really changes the mood of this atmosphere.
Indeed.
Nice, yeah. Friends, Christmas is a season of hope. And these Christmas season have lots of memories. But very recently, what is happening in the world and all around, and maybe in your hometown too, those memories can be changed into some bitter memories. But yet, Christmas is a season of hope. When Christ came 2,000 years back on this planet Earth in Bethlehem, there was too a lot of chaos, lot of problems, but did come with a message of hope. So how do we welcome Christ this Christmas? Let us learn more about how to welcome Christ this Christmas from Dr. George. Dr. George?
Christmas made it possible for us to have hope.
Yes.
Because God has already promised long ago that He is going to reveal Himself to us in the person of Christ.
Yes, exactly.
See, God's revelation through nature is sufficient enough to believe that there is a God.
Yes.
Or that God exists. But that is not sufficient enough to worship Him with our mind and with our heart.
Very true.
So we need some kind of a revelation that is in accordance with the human experience.
Wow.
See, we know God is love.
Yes.
And the human experience of love. So that God's nature of love should be in accordance with the human experience of love. God created man in His own image. That means the best way is to incarnate to the human mind in a way that is understandable to each one of us.
So basically what you're saying, Doctor, is God wanted to show how much He loves His people.
Yes.
And in a simple sense, He said He wanted to embrace His people, and for humanity to feel that embrace, you only can feel it if you are human. And God became human so that He can embrace His generation, His people, and not only that, He can show how much He loves him. And Jesus is that word, Jesus is that message, telling that I love you so much that I'm ready to give my life for you.
For example, those disciples were so frightened when they were in that boat in Luke chapter 8. And Jesus was sleeping, having a nice nap in the midst of those winds and the waves and the storms, and the disciples were so frightened. Then I think Jesus might have told them this also, which is, by the way, not recorded in the Bible.
Okay.
What do you think? Why did I become a man? I became a man in order to know your fears. Now I can personally know how much you fear.
Yes.
And that is why I am with you.
Yes.
To take your fear away. The fear of insecurity, the fear of all the effects of terrorism, and the fear of future. So many fears are haunting us. And here is Jesus telling us this Christmas that the same message that the angels, spoke to the shepherds. Fear not. Fear not.
So wonderfully, Doctor, because today when we see the attacks in Europe and what's happening in the Middle East and even in our home country, everyone would say, is there hope? There's a lot of fear. Okay, like in Luke, the storm in the boat, but there are still storms going on today in our lives. And yet Jesus is telling the same message which He said 2,000 years ago. He Himself was a refugee. He himself was moving from Bethlehem to Nazareth, Nazareth to Egypt, Egypt back to... He's one with the refugees today. He's one with everyone who is working, want to get employment, recession. Yes, he's there with everyone. So we can never say that our God does not know our problems, because I said, I know, I was there with you, I lived with you. I was born to give that same message. Wonderful, Doctor.
You know, when we were children, we were told some stories of some kings.
Okay.
They wanted to know the problems of the subjects, the people.
Yes.
So what they do, they put on the dress of...
in disguise.
Somebody, in disguise, and they go and walk among them and speak to them and then take action.
Yes.
So that was the kind of king became like one of his subjects.
Yes.
And now, when God became man,
Creator becomes creation.
it is actually God in man. The divine and the human. So the infinite God, think of the infinite God, and we, the finite human beings.
Yes.
You know, so these two natures to combine together, that is divine and human. That is why the birth of Jesus was different from ours.
Okay.
He was conceived by the Holy Spirit.
Yes, that's true.
And then we read in Isaiah chapter 9 that a child is born to us. That means that speaks about the humanity of Jesus.
Yes.
Child born to us. And a son is given to us. That speaks about the divinity. So the divine human person in Jesus. Or we could say that God was in Christ. And there is nothing unlike Christ in God.
Yes.
So it is, the kind of divine human personality. Surely he had a divine nature and a human nature. The human nature made it possible for him to know our pain, our difficulties. And we notice he himself was so tired, hungry, and he was weak. The difficulties that he faced when he was carrying the cross. And he was so weak. And that says that he is divine human, but he was not at all immune to the frustrations of humanity.
Yes. He's a suffering servant, and he knows every pain that we are encountering and going to encounter, and he is the way, he has shown the way, and by following the way, we too get the salvation, we too get the peace. Very true, Doctor.
Yes, he made it possible for us to have hope.
Okay.
Because every time I go through disappointing situations, disappointments, frustrations, I have a person to look at.
Very true.
You remember people wanted to touch him. People wanted to see him. And that means human mind is longing for a person.
Yes.
See, our mind can understand ideas. Our mind responds to ideas.
Yes.
But in order to believe something and make a decision, it is our will that make the decision.
Very true. Okay.
And the will always responds to a person, not merely ideas.
Yeah.
So it is required that we need a person. And I remember talking to some people, going to, a human being become superstar and a god or human god, that kind, God man, God, like that. And why did you go? We pray to God, and we do not know where God is answering our prayers, hearing our prayers.
Okay.
But when we went to Him,
Yeah.
He gave us love. Just think of the longing of human heart
Yes.
to someone to give them love.
Love.
And here we need to experience the love of God. Not merely know that God is love,
Okay.
but to experience the love of God. So in order to have that experience, we have a person
Person.
in Jesus
In
Christ.
Jesus Christ. That's true.
I think of this illustration. Suppose a child is looking for his mother, maybe in a festival or in some place or crowd of people, and started weeping, crying, my mother, like that. And then someone comes to that child and say, oh, I want to teach you about motherhood. What is the use of telling about the principles of motherhood to a child? The child actually needs the person.
The person.
So he is there as a person. And he is very sensitive to our needs. You know, in that big crowd, we read in Mark chapter 5 that a woman with a problem for 12 years.
Yes, yes.
She went to the doctors
Yes.
and they could not cure her. They could not relieve her of her illness, but they could only relieve her of her money.
Money, yeah.
She lost everything.
Yeah.
And then someone told that Jesus is coming that way. So how to approach him? There was a big crowd. So then she thought, at least I am going to touch his garment. And so she tried and finally made it. And Jesus was so sensitive to realize that someone is in need. And not only that, some need, just looked at her, and in that one look, he realized her 12 years problems. So during this Christmas, people may be having problems for many years. And here is Jesus available to you to touch him, tell him, and believe. See what happened in that case, that woman with the 12 years sickness. Her faith in Jesus, and we see the power of Jesus manifested there. So faith in Jesus plus the power of Jesus resulted in miracle. So even today, what is impossible with the man is possible with God. So we have a God who is approachable.
Yes.
And also to understand. Of course, God revealed to us through nature. God revealed to us through our human conscience. But here is revelation through incarnation, which happened on the first Christmas day. And that is why we celebrate the first Christmas day. And we exchange gifts to commemorate the first Christmas gift we received from God.
From God himself,
So that is what we are exchanging, giving. God gave his son. God gave his gift in the person of Jesus. And with him, we are able to experience in our day-to-day life both material and spiritual needs.
Good. That's true. And Jesus coming as a little child, like a baby, sends a lot of message. I mean, some people say he could be reincarnated, he would have come like an Adam, like a full-grown man, but he comes as a fragile child. I mean, he says that I am coming as a child, but that gives us very strong message that I myself could be destroyed by the evil one because I am fragile and I am just a little child. I require a mother, I require a parent, I require the society, my family over there to help me to grow. So what Jesus is saying is that sometimes we think that God will come and solve all my problems. I don't require anybody else. But God is saying, no, we are all as a family, as a unity. And all of us play a part in the salvation. And being a little child sends a lot of message because few months back, there was this little boy, Aylan, who was found dead on the beach of Turkey. And for many years, the refugees were coming in and out of Europe, but nobody shook from there. They were trying to push these refugees out. But when they saw that small child, that small baby infant, that just a toddler, it echoed into their hearts. A child's, child can break out even the toughest, hardest man or the woman who is in power, and they, the Western world, the European countries, they just open their arms. Say, enough. Forget about thinking about economics. Forget about thinking about security. We have a situation where we need to help people. And that little child, Aylan, though he was dead, but he sent a message of hope for the whole of Europe and whole of the people, the refugee people. The same message 2,000 years back in the manger in Bethlehem, Jesus was giving to the rest of and the world, the intellectual world, the Magi, that comes and visits the baby. Just to understand, they left behind their knowledge and they bowed down to the Creator, to that infant over there, which Lord is sending a message, regardless of the humongous problems that are going around. Your answer comes in a very small package, a very simple thing, a baby in manger. And today when we are looking forward to see that the symbolic baby in our church, in the cribs, in the altar over there, that infant Jesus is sending one message. Your problems may be as big and huge, but answer is as simple and as soft as a little baby. That's right.
And that is basically the answer to the biggest problem,
Yes.
called sin.
Sin.
Yeah. To deal with sin, because we commit sin due to the sin disease within us.
Yes.
So that is handled on the cross. So he came as a baby and now he suffered and died for us. His atonement on the cross was actually paying our debt.
Yes.
Now, how can someone take your punishment? Who will take our punishment? See, the punishment depends on the kind of crime
Yes.
people commit. Suppose you throw some stones on the Bandh day and the political party that is hiding you will go to the police and release you, saying that, on the Bandh day they were not supposed to be on the street and that is why they did.
Yes.
So it's a very, very petty kind of a case.
Yes.
But in the law court, suppose a criminal is being interrogated and he was hiding a stone or something in his pocket and he threw that stone onto the judge. What will be the punishment? It is not like throwing stone on the Bandh day.
No.
It is a severe punishment.
Yeah.
So the punishment must fit the crime. Now when you live an unholy life, you are violating the infinite holiness of God.
Yes.
When you do injustice, you are violating the infinite justice of God.
Yes.
So what should be the punishment?
Infinite.
Infinite. So infinite number of years you have to be in prison.
Yeah.
That is a result.
That is
the punishment.
That is the punishment, yeah.
But now we need someone who is capable or suitable to bear our infinite punishment.
Our infinite punishment, yeah.
So God himself came
as a human being,
and he became suitable enough to bear our infinite punishment in a finite period. See, divine human person. So he could die, he could accept the punishment,
Yeah.
suffer and die, and also because he is divine, he could rise again.
Yes. Yes.
And so that is the purpose of incarnation.
Incarnation. Very true.
Of course, he taught us many things
Yes.
for us to, he lived a life with an example for us to follow. And the Bible says, his name shall be called Emmanuel, both in Isaiah and in Matthew's Gospel.
Yes.
That means God with us.
God is with us. Yeah.
So he is with us. God is our refuge and strength. We read it in the 46th Psalms. And a very present help in times of trouble.
That's true.
He is so close to us. Well, I think God speaks to us now. Continues to speak to us. How did it all started? In the person of Jesus? You know, in communication, getting some message across. Someone said some years ago, the best way to communicate a message is to wrap that message in a person. Wrap the message in a person and send, and that wherever that person goes, the message is communicated.
Okay.
So God's greatest message to mankind was communicated by wrapping that message in the person of Jesus. And he gave us the message.
Very true.
And now the same message is wrapped in each one of us who believe in Jesus, who are saved by his blood, who are the child of God or the kingdom people.
Yes.
The message is wrapped in us. And wherever we go, we can be Jesus to others.
Yes.
And that is God's intention, as we read in Romans 8:29,
Yes.
that we are to become like Jesus, to have the qualities of Jesus.
Yes.
So wherever we go, we will be Jesus to the others.
Yes.
And this Christmas time, that is my desire. Oh, if I could become Jesus to the people where I go and meet. And in order to do that, I need the qualities of Jesus. And I praise God for the many ways in which God is developing that quality in my life.
Wonderful.
Suffering? Yes, God can.
Yes.
And in all the things, when you say all the things are working together for good, that is verse 28 in Romans chapter 8. And this next verse is that the highest good that you can have is to become like Jesus.
Like Jesus, yeah, that's true.
That means it is possible for us to be Jesus to others.
Friends, a wonderful message by Doctor, that we have to be Jesus, we have to be that wrapped gift for others. I really remember about this incident almost many years back. I was working in the Gulf. I come down for Christmas, my first Christmas after 2 years by working in the Gulf. And my dad was there with us. And my very close friend who was sitting just across us after the Mass, we were just sitting at home. And he was very depressed. Why he was depressed? A few years back, he lost his mother. He was an orphan. He's living all alone. His engagement got cancelled. And his job was not looking good. He had a lot of sickness, illness, and he was sitting right in front of me, a very close friend. In time of need, he was really good. And I saw him, I saw his face, gloomy, sad. I was there, my fiancée was there, and I thought to do something for him. I could not see my best friend suffering like that. So I went out to my room, I took a card, and in the card I just wrote, "My dear friend, this is going to be your last blue Christmas. Next Christmas, it's going to be different." And I signed it there as a faith. And I gave it to this guy. He said, "Why are you giving me a card? We are here at home only. Why are you giving me a card?" And he opened the card, and when he read it, he said, "What do you mean by blue Christmas?" I said, "Blue means gloomy, sad, lonely. I know what's going in your heart. I know you think that there's no end to your pain. But I promise you, I know my Lord. I know what He will do. I know what He has done in my life, and He will do it in your life. I am praying with this Christmas card that next year is going to be different. Now friends, it so happened that after I gave this card, a few months later, my dad was very ill. And so ill that before the next Christmas, he passed away. The next Christmas, in my house, my dad was not there. My house was a house of sorrow, a house of grief. But my friend, just a month before that, he was planning to go to US. He met a new girl in his life. His family, friends arranged his marriage. Before Christmas, a week before Christmas, he got married. On Christmas Day, the next year, he was not alone. He was with his life partner, he was with his in-laws. His house was filled with happiness. Yes, in my house, we lost somebody that year. But we have seen many Christmases after that. And many Christmases in my home has been filled with happiness. And even in his house, two friends had different problems in life. But when they shared each other, when they gifted each other their time, their few words of love, inspiration, motivation, both of us became a blessing in each other's life. Christmas means that to me. Yes, it could be a sad Christmas. You must have lost a loved one. Financially, you're doing bad. You may be not able to give the gifts for your children as you promised to. But friends, don't get upset. Jesus was wrapped in swaddling clothes as a Christmas gift for us. Freely we have received, freely we should give it to others. You want to make Christmas special? Go, reach out to others who don't have. And then see, make a difference in others' life. More than receiving, asking, Mama, what gift I'm going to get, Dad, what I'm going to get a gift, or asking your sweetheart, what do you have for me this Christmas? Shall we ask the question, Jesus, what do you require for Christmas? What can I give you for you this Christmas? I'll give you my love. I'll give you my love this Christmas. If you share love, my friends, remember, 7 billion people, 1 billion people are hungry. Cannot 6 billion people sponsor or take care of 1 billion? 6 taking care of 1? Is that not possible? It is possible, much more possible. You will not even feel the pinch. That is the message this Christmas. Friends, it's time to sign off this wonderful episode. It was a pleasure to give you the Christmas message. And we at Divine Studios over here for Divine Television, broadcasting all over Europe, US, Middle East, and all of the rest of the parts of the world, and also to the Goodness TV in India. Myself and Dr. George and the staff over here, you have not seen their faces, but they are working hard to make this episode lovely for you. And we all, with the God's grace and blessings from above, wishing you a Merry Christmas and wish you a wonderful year ahead. Remember, Jesus comes like a small child, so there'll be a little surprise in your life. I'm promising you, friends. You watch next year, this Christmas, you will remember that the blessings from this episode from us makes a difference in your life. We really believe it, and we believe next year will be a wonderful year. Happy Christmas. God bless you. Merry Christmas, Doctor.
Merry Christmas.